So welcome all to the Thursday, December 19th, 2024 Parks and Community Services Committee meeting. I'll call that to order. The first thing we need to do is approval of the minutes from the November 21st session, the previous session. Is there any discussion or corrections? I have one correction if no one else has anything, and it's a minor thing. I noticed that the word private was consistently misspelled. Is there any other discussion? No?
No.
So can we just have a verbal vote? Who is in favor of approving the minutes? Please just say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay. Thank you very much. Public comment. Do we have anybody in the audience would like to make a public comment?
Not at this time, Les, and we have nobody online.
Nobody online. Very good. Then we'll continue on. All right, Kirk and AJ, I think that's who you are from behind. Monthly State of the Parks.
Yeah, before we start that, I'd like to introduce our new emergency manager. He's in the room right now, Andrew Murray. Andrew, this is the Parks Committee here.
Hello.
So please get to know him. He's a good guy, okay? All right.
Good
Thank you,
morning. Okay, so we have started taking the soccer goal nets off, or they're off actually. And after this meeting, we're gonna go put the goals away for the year. We got Christmas lights hung up. The last of the playground equipment has been installed. Kirk started on the rose garden, weeding and trimming it for the year. We repaired a couple of the picnic tables that have started to deteriorate. This last windstorm a couple days ago knocked down one of the trees or made it lean over. And so I went out there and winched it back up. It's pretty big one, and got it restaked and secure. I worked with Jet from the wastewater department and blew out the irrigation system at the main park with air compressor, went through all the lines. And so there's no possibility for it freezing, which it probably wouldn't anyways, just a precaution. There was a new redwood tree planted at 6th and Beach where there was a hazard tree removed. Along the wastewater treatment plant, we trimmed some of those trees back with Mark Morgan's and the COLA volunteers. And I installed a birdhouse that the Cannon Beach Academy kids had made because there was a hazard tree taken down next to the school. And so it's hung up on the existing stump that's still there.
Kids were really excited to build that birdhouse. That's pretty big.
Sweet. I read off all your notes, so I don't know if you have any.
I have anything something to add to that. During our windstorm yesterday, the walking trail on East Gower here that goes to the highway. We have a walking path back there that goes over an area. We had a massive tree come down, and it looks like we can repair it, but it's about 14 feet of deck repair we have to do to it. Could have been way worse. My contractor is going to start the work on Monday next week. So hopefully we can get that open back up, but
Was it back there?
yeah.
We call it
Walking trail.
the Elmwood Trail, I think.
So massive tree, totally rotten on the inside. Could have done more damage, so I'm thankful that it hit where it hit. We'll get that back up, repaired and open as soon as possible.
Thank you, Trevor.
Yeah.
All right, very good.
That's it.
Any other questions or thoughts concerning the parks or state of the parks?
We handled pretty well in that windstorm with trees, really. I mean, we didn't, Highway 26 got devastated, but we handled pretty well here.
Yeah, we were lucky.
Lost a few, but nothing crazy. So happy
All
for
right.
that.
Yeah.
I don't think we've checked the ECFR footpath yet.
Yeah. We had one that fell on the road in the ECFR, so I had to have Joe Birch get it out of the road. But that's the only one, and the one back here. There was one up on Old Cannon Beach Road that came down, a little one, but the fire department handled that one. Got it out of the road, so we handled really well. So,
That's great to hear. All right, then next would be the report on the trees, which is unusual this month. Trevor, you're gonna lead us on that discussion?
sure. I can start with the City Hall location. I'm sure a lot of you have seen what's been planned here at City Hall. So we invited Jeff Gearhart here before we submitted for plan review to have a lengthy discussion and about the site, what's existing, what's here. What can we save? What are the important trees to save and how can we save them? So Jeff spent, I'm not joking, at least 2 days here. He actually worked out of City Hall during that time. So we could really categorize all the species on this property and what can be saved. And we actually did some manipulation to save us. I think it's a cedar tree out there to the plans itself to incorporate that tree and make it thrive. So I'm happy with both reports. Same scenario with the PD site. Not 2 days there, but pretty much a day on site and then a day in the office doing the report. I'm happy with the result. I'm happy with the give and take that we've done on this. And I think it's going to look really good when we're all said and done. And also the replanting. I don't know if you guys have looked at the City Hall replanting schedule for the City Hall site. We're going to have a great area on the southern side of the City Hall because we don't have setbacks right now. We're actually over the property line. So the new City Hall will have the actual 15-foot setback, and it's going to allow us to have a real nice spot to plant some trees, which I'm excited about. And I'm still trying to hold off on not planting every tree that they want us to plant for the construction project. I'd like to have at least one season and do the grade school planting here at City Hall.
Oh, yeah.
I think that'd be kind of cool. So
Would.
that's what I'm shooting for on this site. So any questions?
Yeah, Trevor, I've got a question. If the number of trees, well, I'm talking about City Hall specifically in this case, that need to come down 24, and then there is, as you said, a really nice looking replanting picture that I saw. Are we going to end up replacing those one for one? Do you have a feel for that yet?
I think it's actually over one for one. I want to
Okay.
say it's like 45 trees are going to be planted back on this site. I could be wrong, but it's well over the one for one.
Okay. And then I'm simply thinking of the folks that live adjacent to the back of what would be the back of the City Hall lot. Were those trees going to be preserved? It looks like they are, if I understand the drawing correctly.
Correct. But there's a lot of evergreens in that back area there on the southern back area, the parking lot and the eastern part of the parking lot. Several of those alders are being removed, but not the evergreens. And the reason for that is Jeff wants to promote the growth of those evergreens that are below it. So removing those alders who they're coming to the end of their life, to get them out now and to promote the growth of those evergreens is going to be crucial. We're not removing the evergreens. We're just taking out the alders back there that are protecting the evergreens from growing.
And the alders that are on what would be the east side of the walking path, which is off of outside of the city hall lot proper. There's quite a few alders on the east side over there as it gets close to Gower. Are any of those going to be affected?
Talking on the east side of the walking path itself,
Yeah.
yeah, those aren't being touched.
Okay.
It's just in the city hall footprint here. We're not including the east side of the trail or the walking path.
Okay. Well, I, for one, am excited to see things started.
I'm just gonna be honest, eventually something's gonna have to be done with the east side of the trail alders. You can look back there and they've got a significant pitch to them. So eventually, but we're not touching them right now.
That's what I was curious about. Okay. And folks have any questions or any other comments?
Question, who proposed these removals? Because it looks like you're taking everything walking path all the way to the hedgerow. Everything. I didn't see even one cedar spared. And if you're working in Portland, the status quo, that's what they do. They get everything out of the way and then move in.
And that's not the case here. That's
Who initiated this?
Jeff Gerhardt, our city arborist, looking at the plans and how the plans were done. But as far as clear cutting this lot, that's not happening.
It looks that way. And I took a quick look at it. I didn't see even one tree spared, and we got some stuff that it's properly nurtured and it's got to come out, but I couldn't believe it didn't look like anything was spared.
Oh, yes, a lot of things are spared. Yeah, we're not just clear.
Says 24 out and 11.
Okay, but it didn't look like it.
Okay,
All the red is gone.
City.
Yeah.
Police stations, right? 50 to 75 trees. There were no designated trees, and I haven't seen us operate that way before.
a lot of those trees are being removed because of grading purposes. There's some significant grading that has to happen at the PD site, which is going to expose roots and everything else. So that's why several of those trees are being removed.
Okay. Has it gone out for public comment yet?
Oh, yes, we're past that stage.
That's it.
Okay, so were there any other thoughts or comments specific to City Hall before we move over to the police department site? Yeah, Mark.
I've got one, but I don't want to jump in front of Jan if she had a public comment.
Well, I just wanted to say for Tom's sake, there are a number of trees that were mentioned that are being saved. Did you see the ones? Did you get to look at the?
I didn't have a lot of
stay on
time
his
to look
list
at it. I
and
looked
we'll
at the
see.
plot plan, and the trees that were highlighted in red, and it looked like everything was coming out.
I think it'd be important for your sake to go back and look at the ones that are being saved. I think it says for tree retention and preservation for the end of Jeff Gilbert's letter. The letter that's in the packet. It says there are 11 trees that I am advising to be retained. And he lists all the numbers of the 11.
Okay.
And then if you go back and look at the map, you'll see that there are a number of trees on this side of the property, because I was very concerned, especially about the lady that does live right next to this right here. She lives closer to the walking path, because her trees are all mixed in with these trees. So I think a number of them are going to be. So
It's more to it than just the plot plan. The arborist made some.
I definitely think he did, and then like what Trevor was saying, that there are a lot of trees that will be replanted as well.
Yeah.
And so, and unfortunately, these cherry trees in the little parking area here, I'm sad that those are gonna be taken out, but I guess there's gonna be replantings of native trees there, so. It's gonna be a big change, but I'm hoping it'll be good in the long run.
I just made the assumption, and I believe I'm correct, the cherry trees that are on the north side of Gower, those aren't going to be affected, I think.
They are going to be affected. And
Are
if
they?
you- if you read what Jeff Gerhardt wrote about it, he does talk about those trees specifically, trying to figure out where it is, but anyway, they're not doing well, even though I think they're still very beautiful. He does not feel that they're doing that well, and, I think he's going to plant native trees in those spots. So it will be a big change, and I'm sorry about the cherry trees, but I do trust our city arborist in most cases. He really is a tree hugger, and he's also very knowledgeable, and I'm trying to trust him on this one.
Well, we know, well, at least I believe that, that the end result will be beautiful.
Yeah.
And Jeff has a great eye for, you know, the aesthetics of how to place and what kind of trees will do well. So that'll be good. So are there any other thoughts on the city hall specifically? Trevor, were there any objections to any of these trees specifically?
I'll let Mark ask a question. He's been very patient.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No problem. Kind of along a similar line, but I was assuming that all the trees that were requested to be removed was for purpose.
Correct.
And so with Jeff coming back and recommending the retention of 11, has that plan been vetted with the construction manager to verify that the work can be done and done safely with retention of those?
Great question. And we have talked to the construction folks, the original construction folks. We're getting a new contractor. But we're gonna, the areas where we're gonna be saving the trees is we're gonna highlight a tree protection zone, which is lacking in this community, is a tree protection zone on a construction site. So we're gonna pay special attention to that, especially this big tree out front here by the power pedestal for the farmer's market. We're gonna highlight that tree with tree protection zone so other people can see how it's done. So yes, taking that into account.
Yeah, very good. Thank you.
The last of your question, if there was any pushback from any of the neighbors? That's your question?
Yeah, just if, you know, if there had been any concerns raised by the community
Yes.
relative to the city hall.
Yes, we had one concerned resident who lives in the back corner by the parking lot there. And I just recently learned that she will not be challenging the removal of the trees at this point.
Okay. Any other thoughts on the city hall specifically? If not, I'd like to just have a similar little quick conversation about the police location. Again, a large number of trees to come out. I didn't, at this moment, I didn't see, well, I did kind of see what I thought was a replanting picture for that location as well. And it looks like a ton of trees to be replanted out of that number. Is that a fair statement?
Correct. Yeah, because one of the concerns, I believe it's on the east side of the PD, more towards the northern east side of the PD, there's going to be a significant planting in that area to try to get some kind of a canopy restored that's been lost over the years in that area along 101. Of course, not on ODOT's property, but trying to replicate what we have with on 101 going through Cannon Beach.
I see the I'm looking at the diagram on it would be page 25 of our packet, where it indicates where at least a preliminary where a lot of trees could be replanted, but it looks like in a lighter shade, it's still showing the emergency response trailers that are located there on that site.
Yeah, they will not be located at that site.
No, I knew they were going to be moved, and I was kind of curious because there was a fair number of trees to be taken down at their new location. Has that been done? Do you know?
Correct. That's been done. So I think, I'll go ahead and finish. I think I know what your question is. So go ahead. Are you asking what we're going to do with the existing cache site?
Yeah, something like, or how Yeah, are we getting close to being ready to make that move? I assume we are.
Yeah, we're getting real close to make that move. Where the existing cache site sits now, where you see the little boxes on that diagram there, that's all going to be cut down significantly, the grade. The existing wooden structure, the original cache site, that shed that we have up there, that building that's actual wood, that's being moved so they can grade this area. And what I know of the project is that wood structure is going to be moved back to where the existing cache sites are going to be located, because PD is going to be using that as their garage storage space.
Yeah, that's kind of my understanding as well. Are there any other comments or concerns concerning about the city hall or the police department location? Jan's waving her hand. I see it.
I just wanted to say, with any project that we do in this town, I'm always advocating for the ODOT, for the forest corridor, the vegetated corridor along Highway 101, that we always try to increase that, the tree canopy there if at all possible. We have a beautiful document with the city, if anybody wants to find it and read up on it. And I'm hoping maybe there might be a way to enhance that corridor a little bit with this project. But at the moment, I'm just kind of waiting and seeing what actually comes of this. And then maybe we can just look in the future to add on in the forest corridor. It's so important that we keep that canopy. And I know Chief Jason Skirmahorn really wanted this building to be visible somewhat to people coming on the highway. But I think this will work the way it's planned. And anyway, down the road, literally, if we can plant more trees somehow, it would be wonderful. So maybe everybody could take a look. Thank
Very
you.
good. Any other comments or thoughts? I think that's all of the tree information, isn't it, Trevor?
Correct.
Yeah. So if you're okay, we'll move on. The Heritage Trees Program, and I'm not aware of any new trees that have been submitted this past month. And doesn't look like anybody else does either. As far as the tree focus group goes, I'll go ahead and speak to that. We did finally get approval by the Planning Commission, and that has been recommended to the City Council for their consideration. And that public process is essentially going to be repeated. I don't have any dates yet as far as when it's going to be on the public calendar, but there will be a public meeting where comments will be solicited, and we'll go through that process with the city council. So hopefully we're getting pretty close to having an updated tree protection basically draft to go into the code. I don't know. Are there any questions from the committee as far as what the final working document might look like, or have any concerns?
I just want to thank you for all the work you've done on this over the year. My goodness, it's been a labor of love for you guys. Thank you so much.
Well, you're welcome, Betty. I think it's been a very interesting process. I think it shows that these things do take a lot of time. I hope that most people feel relatively comfortable that we speaking for the small group, the focus group, that we really tried to understand the feedback we got and to incorporate it consistent with the objectives of what we were trying to achieve. I doubt we made everybody perfectly happy, but I think what we are proposing is pretty good. So that's my thoughts anyway. So next, Tree City USA, we reported on this last meeting. We did get thanks to Barb Knopp. We did get approved as a Tree City USA again. And of course, the updating of the signs will be a part of our 12 Days of Earth Day as it normally is. So thanks again to Barb Knopp. So Betty, do you want to go ahead and talk to us about the monthly reserve cleanup?
Sure. This month, last month, we worked on the other side of the street from Nakoos in that little park there. And we got a lot done, but we're going to meet again this Saturday at that same site across the street. We're going to park over at Nakoos and walk across. Sorry, I'm not going to be there, but I know that it was a lot of fun last time. We were all so joyful. So I hope more people will come out. And I actually added AJ to our text message so that he can find out where we're going to be leaving the piles.
Perfect.
Yeah.
You're not gonna be here on Saturday? Is that what you're saying?
I know.
What? I was gonna give you guys a chainsaw. It's almost Christmas.
I'm actually envious of AJ's. AJ has a little hand one, and I just thought, oh my gosh. But Les and Lynn bought me a hand one, so it helps a lot. The Ecola kids are off this month, but they've been really helpful. They did a lot of work by the sewer ponds. So that was good. It opened it up. I think next month, if that's okay with everybody, we would work in that area and get rid of the coming up, the ivy and the blackberry is coming back there. So I thought we could beat that back before it takes over. That's all I have to say about that.
Betty, I'd just like to comment on the Ecola Bible College students' participation. I think it's been excellent. And I was a little concerned to begin with is kind of maybe the work ethic and being able to show up every week in all kinds of conditions, but they have done an excellent job working very hard and usually at about 3 hours each session. So they've done a great job. And so they're representing Ecola Bible College really well. Also want to acknowledge AJ for his leadership with the project. It's been excellent also. He's been organized, he's been there, he's participated, and doing a great job being kind of a role model from the city for these students. So nice job, AJ. Thanks for your participation.
Yeah.
Thanks, AJ.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a really wonderful addition and they're now, one of the guys is going around and taking off all those stickers all over. And he said that some of the younger people are, saying, why are you doing that, man? And he just ignores them and just keeps on working. So that's nice. That's been a really nice partnership.
All right. Thank you very much. Any other comments relative to cleaning up and the Bible College's participation? No. So next on our agenda we're going to go ahead and start talking about community grants. That process is coming a little closer, as Sherry reminded me. I know that in our packet there is a calendar for next year, for an event calendar that you probably want to take a look at, as well as what I believe is an updated packet that will be sent out after the first of the year. But to anybody that indicates an interest in participating. Sherry, is there any other things that we should share with the group?
I added last year's calendar. Those dates changed. And I was looking at the calendar and also comparing it to Jen's new calendar this year for the council meetings. It almost works just to move the dates. If you guys want it like you did last year, how the check was sent out early, like there was a lot of meetings with it. I mean, you guys can kind of pile them to a shorter timeframe. It works if you just move up the date, like that way, like May 9th, it would be instead May 8th, May 13th, May 14th. So if you just move those dates up one, and then I'll coincide of when, because I think June 3rd is when the council work sessions packet is due. So I just wanted to bring up those dates will move a little bit, but that's for you guys to approve here. Like, I'm not the one that controls your dates. You guys do. So, I mean, I would suggest or make that suggestion, just moving the dates up one day because of the calendar, the way the calendar works. So, and then that's pretty much that. What I could do is just double check with, make sure it does hit all the council dates with Jen, and then make sure your dates are solid.
So if you're okay with this, let's move those dates up and let's get that in next month's packet.
Mhm.
And then let's take a real hard look at that.
And then I did add last year's packet so that you could see what those look like and if you felt there needed to be any changes put out.
Are you okay with that? So we should let Sherry do her thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Move it around a little bit and let's,
Could I just ask one question on the April 22nd deadline for the grant application? Do you know what the new date that will be?
21st.
Most likely will be April 21st, because our calendar,
Yeah, okay.
One day.
Okay. I'm glad it's kind of at the end of our 12 days. I want to make sure it doesn't interfere with our 12 days. So I think that's good because the 12 days ends on the 22nd this year. So that's the only concern I had, is that it didn't overlap with 12 days, but it'll be fine.
Yeah, it'll cut us one day short, but shorter than we had this past year before our first chance to get together and talk. But I think it will be fine. We'll simply have to be aware that the packets, we will have the applications available as soon as we get 12 days wrapped up.
Yeah.
Okay. So just a quick question of the group. We did change up our schedule for this past year with the objective of, well, a couple of objectives, but one of them was to try to get the checks out sooner. And I thought that worked very well. We also added an additional review meeting, a work session, so that we could, I guess, take a look at our recommendations and make sure that we really understood what each of us was trying to support and how they made sense. That did make for a pretty compressed schedule, but I thought it worked this past year. Does anybody in the group have any concerns about just repeating the calendar as is? With the dates updated, of course. I'm going to assume, because I can't really see the screen. I'm going to assume that everybody thinks that that'll work.
silence is yes, right?
Yes.
Silence is yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think next month I'm going to get a much bigger screen, so where I'll feel like I'm just right there with you. I wish I were. Okay. Well, Sherry, then as I understand it, you will go ahead and update the calendar and take a first pass at the packet and make sure the dates in there are correct, and then include it in the packet for our January meeting.
okay,
One
Okay.
question on May 9th, with the May 9th, do we still need the COVID thing in there? Presentations may be conducted in person if COVID restrictions at this time allow.
I think that could,
those are just presentations, that's an added things, but I can take it out, that's just for the presentations, but I think it had to be approved that they could do it via Zoom, so I think that's up to you guys to give them the opportunity to still be able to access the Zoom.
I think that's appropriate. letting them access the Zoom if they can't come in.
And I can take the word COVID out.
Yeah.
But they should be able to, because
Yeah.
if they are sick, they should be able to. do the
Yeah.
Zoom.
Yeah, I think it is appropriate to take the COVID reference out. That feels like that's not quite as big a deal as it used to be, but I do want to allow them to come in via Zoom or in person.
Yeah.
So I think that worked well for us last time.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other thoughts relative to the grants program? Thank you, Sherry, for bringing that up and putting it on, making sure we had a chance to discuss that this time. That will come quicker than we can believe.
Yep.
Okay. If there's nothing else there, the 12 Days of Earth Day. I had a couple of comments that I wanted to make real quick, and then we can just kind of open it up to discussion. First of all, I neglected to make a point of it last time, and I was a little uncertain of what the exact dates needed to be for the 12 days in this coming year, but it looks like it will start on April the 11th and end on April the 22nd of 2025, which is kind of what we've been talking about this whole time. And I understand that in our new handbook, there was some guidance relative to Easter week and trying not to step on Easter activities and those kinds of things. It is Holy Week leading up to that. I think we're just going to need to be sensitive to other activities in the community and try to make sure that we don't schedule 12 days stuff to compete with, what would normally be a normal Easter kind of a activity. So I think we'll just need to be aware of that and move forward. The other thing that I noticed in the packet was that Betty's list of the attendees, I guess it's the invitees to the street fair is included. And we touched on that last time, and I know Sherry sent that out separately. I don't know if there's been any thought yet or anybody has come up with any additional names to add to that list. If not, that's certainly something that we need to continue to think about for this coming during this, before this coming next meeting. We need to get the full list to the city for their review and approval, I believe early in January. That's what I'm trying to look at. Do you recall, Sherry, what did our handbook say was it the first part of January, or can we wait till the next parks meeting to finalize the list?
All I remember is 2 weeks prior to the actual event. That's all I remember.
Well, I feel like personally, the people that we're inviting are starting their calendar. They're meeting about their calendar and they're putting dates on their calendars. So I would love to have the city look at least what we did last year and approve it so that we can start calling them in December or as earliest in January as possible. Because once they've got their calendar set, then it's a lot of them don't want to change it just for our event. So
Yeah, I don't have a problem with the existing list that I have in front of me of who attended last year. My only problem I had last year was that people that showed up at the last minute and we didn't know who the heck they were. But everybody that's on this list, the city has no concerns with it.
okay. All right.
So we can go ahead and make those kind of contacts as soon as we want to. And like Betty is saying, I've had this experience as well. If you wait after the first of the year, in some cases, you'll find people are already filling up their calendars. I had I'd love to have come, but I can't response a couple of times last year because I waited too late. So just something to keep a thought about. Anyway, I don't have the handbook in front of me, but Trevor, would you think that if we have any additions to this list that we could roll them together in the January meeting, and will that be enough time to get city to take a look at the new names?
That's fine.
Okay. I think that would work better for us. So just as a conversation item, are there any thoughts about bringing in people who are not on the list that Betty shared with us? Anything new? Silence means no, and that's good.
No.
All right. Okay. So I don't really have anything more to say about that. The list will be finalized next month. Tom, I'd like to get with you at sometime at your convenience, so we can just kind of talk about, maybe getting the 12 days out on some community calendars to get started with, if that'd be okay.
Sure.
Are there any concerns about 12 days that have cropped up that we haven't talked about?
Lively bunch in here today.
Well, I can understand that, but after the day y'all had yesterday,
Yeah.
Recovery.
Yeah, I think we're pretty good, honestly.
okay,
Old machine.
yeah, well, and hopefully in my experience, for the people who haven't really been a part of it, it kind of builds steam and comes together toward the end, and I expect that's always going to be the case. But I wanted to make sure we keep it out in front of us, because April will come pretty quick too.
Yeah.
All
Russ,
right.
maybe an update on that, just for some additional comment, would be just let the group know is that Anita and I met with Stacy last week, and so we're continuing that process of looking for speakers, presentations, perhaps films. And so just let folks know is that Stacy was instrumental in making that happen years and years in the past. And so at least we've had that handoff meeting. Anita and I have kind of our list of to-do type things, different people we're going to contact, and we'll be able to come back in January with more firm of who we'd intend as opportunities to participate. So I've made a couple comments on that, and I got one question, I guess, now that I think about it, is we did talk about Recology, and I understand that they participated in the street fair in the past or not, and that would be the only one that if they're not, perhaps I was going to contact them about possibly we talked about shredding a little bit, that takes place on that end. Is I believe at one time, years past, is Recology had a kind of a household toxic product collection, and would be to see if they would be willing to do that again. And if not, maybe at the fair have information on how to, if you've got old cleaners, old paint, old things in the garage, you don't know what to do with, don't throw it in the garbage, how to dispose of it properly. So.
Okay, so do you guys want to have Recology come?
We talked about adding it with the shredding potentially, if we could also say that shredding, and if you have paints or paint thinner or something toxic at the same time for disposal. So that's how that came.
You guys are all on board with this. I got a
Great idea.
really good contact at Recology. She's the me of
Yeah.
Recology.
Well, it just seemed like a great partnership, to bring that in as well.
So y'all pass that, you want me to give it to you, Mark?
Yeah, I'd say yes. Yeah, I'm happy to make that. Yeah.
Should we add them to the street fair then too?
Let's let Mark have a conversation and see how in depth they want to be.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Hold
Mark,
on, Andy. Hold on, Les. We got emergency manager Andy wants to say something.
Okay.
Well, I do know that Recology does offer that for citizens where they open it up certain times of the year. I think it's a couple times a year. As long as you're not like a business or like a contractor, they don't allow contractors or businesses to come and drop off hazardous materials. But they do open it to the public to bring paints and chemicals and things like that.
Yeah, we touched on that on our meeting too, about how to maybe deal with the potential for businesses bringing, truckloads of shredding material, which has happened in the past. And, to somehow maybe in the communications and marketing to say something that, this is for residential. If you do have a commercial sized shredding project or toxic, that there might be a fee charged. I don't know. We didn't really go down because I'm not really sure or how that might look, but that's something to be considered, I think, going forward
I participated in the shreds, and yes, the businesses did come and do truckloads,
Yeah.
but they would also, just so you know,
donate.
they would donate the
Yeah.
biggest amounts
Yeah.
to your cause, so
Yeah.
I'd hate to.
No, that it wasn't as discouraging because that the comment was that they're coming in and they weren't donating necessarily. They were just, dumping. So, and that's fine, but
Well,
anyway.
So you're talking about the Shreds event right now, correct?
Yes.
Yes, I feel like people that it is by donation, but I think we were talking about that last year because some people bring a truckload and give us $100, and some people bring a bag and give us $75. So I just feel like the people that are bringing truckloads and barrel after barrel is going into those trucks, they should, we need to have some kind of price structure just to make it better for the city. I'm sorry, but the city is funding this whole thing. And anyway, that's my mean take on it.
Yeah, it's worth discussing. I mean, I don't know if this year we can do anything, but just kind of, I guess, monitor and get some feedback for next year or going forward.
I think we have plenty of time to talk about it and instigate some kind of price structure. Like if if they have one bin that they're using, we could charge one, but if they use 20 bins, we could charge a different amount, because I think that's only fair.
The Recology got back, Katie, and she says they would love to be a part of it.
Great.
Woo.
So I'm gonna give you her email and her cell number, okay?
Very good. Thank you.
I think they might want to consider them for the street fair regarding recycling,
Yeah.
not just hazardous waste.
Yeah.
Text message.
Yeah. They are the county recyclers, and it's time for the community to have an update about recycling. I work at the recycling plant a lot, and a tune-up once every 10 years about what is and what isn't would be helpful.
Good
I
idea.
love that idea.
Yeah.
I think that's great.
And if whoever talks to them, if you could ask them if they would be willing, because I know they do little children programs. If you would ask them if they would be willing to do a presentation at the elementary school, because we're trying to teach them about ecology right now, and it would be cool if these people that are dealing with recycling would come and talk to the kids. So if that would be possible during that 2 weeks, I could set that up for the kids to have that presentation.
Okay, I've got that down, Betty. I'll bring it up.
Thanks.
And I talked with Jen at the Cannon Beach Library, and they are very interested in being involved. They have a story time, which I thought might be a good event. Jen suggested the first Saturday at 2 p.m. is usually when they do that, and they have coloring books. And it just seemed like with the motto of Our Power, Our Planet, and Betty's great idea about having the kids involved, that you just kind of keep that sort of direction, getting kids involved. The younger generations, I talked to or emailed Mike Hawes, who is the counselor at the Seaside High School for Pacifica Project, to see if there might be anybody senior that might want to get involved. Because I just think that that's a good way to educate. And I talked to Jen a little bit about piling a list of resources so that, you know, that Earth Day isn't just, you know, these 12 days or whatever, that, you know, some reading, films, some other activities to do throughout the year so that, you know, it's just part of, you know, the recycling, walking the beach, picking up trash, but just getting the younger generation, the kids involved in. So that's kind of been my thought on any speaker, I guess, or function, you know, and I did get a a text from Stacy saying that Angela, that Friends of Haystack is not going to be doing the artist series this year. So she wasn't sure, you know, that they would be involved like they were last year. I think they did a film or something. So anyway, just trying to fill in those areas
Thank
as
you.
the best we can.
Yay.
But I'm focused on getting kids involved and doing things so that, you know, the kids can grab their grandparents or their parents and go learn about taking care of the earth.
That's wonderful. And you know, Jen's daughter goes to the elementary school,
Yep. Yep.
so she's involved with
Right.
that.
Yeah. Yeah. So she was very excited. We approached for any involvement in the library. And she said that they just ordered books. So I like partnering with them. They're local and get the kids into the library.
Yes. Awesome.
I believe, yeah, that sounds really good. Thank you so much.
We got a commitment at 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're about
hopefully-
5 minutes.
Thanks.
Has anybody contacted the History Center at this point?
Yes, they are, Stacy did, and Zoe and Angela are working on something. They weren't sure exactly what that was going to be yet. So hopefully in January, we'll have more information coming from the History Center and also Haystack Rock Awareness Program. And then just kind of see where we might go. If it's, you know, we talked about the Coaster Theater because that's just such a lovely venue. If we could get a speaker, we talked, you know, maybe getting Graham Clegg, Katie Volk, somebody, you know, at the Coaster to speak for that sort of an event. You know, and that's just such a lovely venue to sit and listen to somebody. So anyway, you know, and then we got on to, you know, if anybody's got a, you know, a little garage band or something that could, you know, sing some Earth Day songs or something. But anyway, so yeah, we've got ideas floating around, but sure it'll all
Arlo
come
Guthrie,
together.
maybe Alice's Restaurant.
Yes.
Anti-pollution song.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Well, yeah.
And that sounds wonderful. Thank you so much for, you know,
Yeah.
putting the effort in it, because it's the more we put into it, the more we'll get out of it. And then the last thing I would say is that as we start to get these things firmed up just enough, that's where I think Tom and I need to really work to get it out on people's calendars, because there have been some really nice offerings in the past that didn't get as good attendance as I think they should have. And I kind of feel responsible for that because I was doing communication. But anyway, it's just something, but we'll work really hard to try to make sure everybody knows about these wonderful events that y'all are talking about, because they are very worthwhile. Anything else? We're almost out of time. So if there's nothing more for 12 days. Yeah, Mark?
One relating to it was that came up during our discussion with Jan here, maybe confirming that Jan, under your leadership and maybe participation with ECAP, that everything related to the Gaylord Nelson selection presentation is all managed by that group and just plugs into the 12 days. Okay.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Okay, anything for the good of the order?
Silence is no.
Yes.
Silence is no. Well, let me wish all of you a very Merry Christmas and a great New Year's, and stay safe. The weather up there is amazing.
Beautiful. Yeah. Yeah.
Grateful.
Wild.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.